afternoon, councillors. Welcome along, members of staff, members of the public. I declare this meeting open. Last week, for those who are viewing from wherever, live viewing our streaming, last Tuesday we had some technical issues, and I apologise for the fact that we weren't able to do that. But we're also going to trial some live Facebook streaming too. I think it's called live Facebook. For those of you familiar would know what all that's about. So we're just trying to get a good spread of people who are interested in observing our briefing and our council meetings. So hopefully that works out quite well. But I invite any of those of you who do watch live streaming or on Facebook to give some feedback to the CEO or elected members and tell us what you think. Councillors, declarations of interest. Councillor Jones has declared impartiality interest in item 10.4.1. Are there any other declarations of interest? Thank you. We have no public questions. Someone prepared to move the minutes of the last meeting be confirmed? Councillor Cook. Councillor Jones, all in favour? It's carried unanimously, thank you. The Heritage Advisory Committee minutes, Councillor Kelly. Councillor Giles, all in favour? It's carried unanimously, thank you. Do we have any petitions? Councillor McCleary.
Sorry, I have a non-conforming petition here to be presented to council.
Thanks, Councillor McCreary. If you just table that, we won't deal with it. We'll just table it. Thank you. Any further petitions? Councillors, item 10, we have 10.21 coming out, 10.25, 10.41. Are there any others that anyone wishes to? Someone move the balance, please. Councillor Cook, Councillor Hayward, all in favour. That's carried unanimously, thank you. 10.21 requires an absolute majority. Someone prepared to move the executive recommendation. Councillor Jones, Councillor Hayward, all in favour. That's carried unanimously, thank you. We'll get down to 10.25. Someone prepared to move the executive recommendation. Councillor McCleary, second up. I'll second it. Councillor Kelly, you have a... Councillor McCleary, did you want to speak? I don't wish to. Councillor Kelly, you have an amendment?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr Mayor. And well done to all at the constructive modifications to this from last week. It's great to see those amendments. I've got a few minor ones, Mr Mayor, and I'll go through them. The top one, as on the screen, actually the 8 key recommendations stays the same. I've just added as amended on the end there.
Yep.
Recommendation 2, the City of Bunbury, I've struck out consider it, but to say develop a formal position. It's more affirmative, I believe. The next one, recommendation 3, taking out consider aligning, and I'm saying align. Again, more affirmative action, Mr Mayor. And then on recommendation 6, it's again affirmative that we develop options. We're not going to further investigate and report. We're going to develop those options. That's an affirmative statement. And costings associated with the establishment. I've struck out in recommendation 7, further investigate. It's just simply to investigate. And recommendations 8, the City of Bunbury acknowledge potential impacts, that's what we're acknowledging, on opportunities, etc. So, Mr Mayor, if I can get a seconder for those amendments.
Seconder, yeah, Councillor Giles. Councillor Kelly.
Just immediately, Mr Mayor, all I've done here is just strengthen this up to be proactive and be positive about this. Obviously, there's some way to go to make sure that we get it right with free camping, but I believe that the recommendations with the amendments are now quite solid and provide a way forward. So that's all I need to say. I ask the councillors to support it. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Giles.
Mayor, just briefly, I would support Councillor Kelly's remarks. I think we do need to to encourage visitors to Bunbury as much as we can, and this is a much more positive resolution. So I urge everybody to support it. Thank you.
Speaker against? I'll put them. Sorry, Councillor Stick.
Thank you, sir. I thank you for allowing me to speak on this matter because I am indeed your deputy in relation to the combined councils, and I'm just worried that this will not go down well with the combined councils. So therefore I'm urging councillors to maintain with the staff's view, and that is we investigate rather than tell, because the last thing the councils want around this district is to be told by us what they should and can't do in relation to tourism. And I'm really hesitant on that, sir.
Okay.
So it will go down better if we maintain what the staff's position is, and I urge all councillors to do the same, sir.
Speaker 4. Councillor Kelly, close.
Just to say, Mr Mayor, that I believe that we're being very affirmative here. It's a sign of leadership that we can make a statement. Obviously, the region, if they disagree with it, they may do that. But I don't think there's any disrespect shown to anybody by being sure and affirmative about what we are about here, attracting visitors to the southwest and free campus. So urge the councillors to support the recommendation as it is now. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put it all in favour of the amendment. Those against? One. Councillor Stick records her vote against the amendment. The amendment now becomes a standard. Any further debate? I'll put it all in favour. Those against? Did you vote then, Councillor Stick?
Sorry, sir. I'll go
with it. You're going with it? Okay, that's carried unanimously. Thank you. We move on to 10.4.1, and I seek a mover of the executive recommendation. Councillor Hayward, seconder. Councillor Kelly. Councillor Cook. Depends where my eye. You guys need it. Yeah. All right. Is there going to be any debate on this? I'll put it all in favour. Those against? One. That's carried. Thank you. We move to item 12.1. Councillor Stick, do you wish to move this? Is there a seconder?
Yes, please, sir, I move.
Councillor Steele. Councillor Stick.
Thank you, sir. Given a response from staff, I'm not suggesting for one moment that any of the monies were not in the budget. Let me make that very clear. I'm not suggesting anything of the sort. What I'm simply saying to councillors is simply this. If you're going to spend $1 million a year, I ought to think that you would know what you're spending it on, in the sense of the fact of whether it's on light vehicles or heavy vehicles. Because at this point, you have no idea what you're spending it on. And that's very, very clear by the response given by staff. None of you know exactly what you're spending the money on. So I'm simply saying to you that you are in trust. You're representing the people of this city. They're representing you by voting for you. And you need to say to them exactly what you're spending their money on. And right now I can't turn around to anybody in this city and simply say, well, this is how much I spend on heavy plant and this is how much money I spend on light plant. And the fact that I don't even know how much money I'm spending on each vehicle is even worse for me. I don't know how all you manage your books, but I would have thought that that would have been a given. And it's been one of my little babies for a little while now. So it's no surprise that I've asked the question. It is also not a surprise that I've asked the question for the fleet. For example, I don't exactly know how a heavy fleet works, but I do have a general idea from a few mates that have fleets around the state. And if I don't think that that's kind of right, I'm going to pick up the phone and go, hang on guys, does this sound right to you? But right now I can't do any of that because I don't know if one particular vehicle is being over-serviced or the other one's being over-serviced, and none of you in this room do either. I know my car, I can service it when it needs to be, but you are in control of an entire fleet of $1 million a year. And I don't know if it sits well with you, the fact that you don't really know what you're paying for, but it certainly doesn't sit well with me. I'm just simply asking the question. Do you know what you're paying for? Do you? Other people's money? Does it sit well with you? Because $1 million a year is a lot of money. I'm just asking you. Please support these motions, because they're not saying staff's done anything wrong. I'm just simply saying to you this, is that when you're in control of a budget, of other people's money, you should know where it's spent. Simple as that. That's all I'm saying, because I know the staff we have are brilliant, and I can recommend them to anybody. So, for a start, please don't think this is about staff. It's not. But I urge you to support the motion, and I think you should seriously consider it.
Councillor Steele. I'll start by speaking against this motion. Councillor Steck, when you speak, you can speak on behalf of yourself. Please don't speak on behalf of others. We may be aware, we may not be aware, but that's an assumption you're making, so don't assume that I'm not aware of what I read and what I approve. We have about a $74 million budget each year. The staff have provided us with significant information, in fact 3 very large volumes. I see a few of you have got those today. They detail as much information as we need, in my view, my humble view, to make informed decisions about the way we spend money on behalf of this community. So this report is unnecessary. The CEO offered to you to provide you that information if you wanted it. In my view, it's taking up productive time of officers to prepare this report, which they could use in other more productive ways. So I'm not supporting you. Is there a speaker for?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
You have a question, Councillor Giles?
If you'll allow it. You can
Yeah, of
decide.
course.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just wondered, do we know how much the revoking of the state government concession will cost the council? Is that? Do we know that figure?
What concession is that?
The licensing and stamp duty.
CEO?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Unless you've got an update today, we haven't as yet. I know we are working through that process. Also, WOLGA's working through it on behalf of all local governments to come up with a figure across the whole of the industry. But at this stage, we don't have the final breakdown, I don't believe, of... Sorry, Mr. Glinsky.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. The Department of Transport has committed to providing all local governments the impact of the concession removal by the end of February.
Thank you.
By the end of February, we should have a total figure for that.
Speaker for Councillor Steck to close.
Thank you, sir. Given the fact that government is removing their support from local government, given the fact that even the WOLGA committees and Western Australian local governments are behind the 8 ball in addressing this matter of licensing and renewals, it is really, really important that this council bring this to the fore and bring it to a decision-making forum where we can actually make a forum for staff to follow, because at the moment we're not giving staff any kind of direction, and I find that really apprehensible. And this is really important. This is ratepayers' money, and I reiterate, $1 million a year, and you don't know what you're spending it on, other than fleet. And sorry, sir, but I disagree with you in the most respectful way. You can say that it's not respectful to drill down on these matters, but I'm simply saying, sir, it is respectful to drill down, because we need to know where we spend our money in every single facet. Thank you, sir.
I'll put it all in favour, please indicate. Those against?
Record, please, sir.
That's lost. Councillor Steck supports it. The balance of council voted against. Now we have some matters, or a matter, a late matter, that has been requested we consider. Councillors, first of all, are we happy to consider this item? Councillor Cook, Councillor Jones, all in favour. Those against? That's carried. Can I have someone move we now proceed behind closed doors? Councillor Jones, Councillor Cook, all those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse us while we deal with this confidential matter.